News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. President Trump says Iran has asked the U.S. to lift a naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz while the two sides negotiate an end to the two-month war. Iran has signaled it may be willing to accept an interim deal to reopen the strait in exchange for Washington ending its blockade of Iranian ports. The United Arab Emirates says it will leave OPEC effective May 1st. UAE Energy Minister Suhail al-Mazroui spoke by phone to Bloomberg's Jumana Bersachi.
The decision is taken at the right time in our view because it's not going to hugely impact the market. The market is under supplied, and because of the unfortunate closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
The move comes as the UAE has increasingly come into conflict with Saudi Arabia, especially over economic issues and the war in Yemen against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The White House says President Trump will respond soon to Iran's latest proposal to end the war. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says Tehran is feeling economic pressure.
The president's focused on getting the right deal. That could be independent of their storage, but obviously that puts great heat on Iran. If we can get the right resolution, that could be tomorrow, that could be 2 weeks from now. But the key thing is the right resolution.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright spoke to Bloomberg Surveillance from Croatia, where he says he'll announce historic pipeline agreements with Europe. And checking oil prices now, WTI is up 3.5%, right at $100 a barrel. Brent crude up 2.5%, right at $111 a barrel. Slumping AI stocks and those climbs in oil prices because of the war, helping to halt Wall Street's record-setting rally. We check the markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 down 0.6%, NASDAQ down 1.25%, the Dow up 0.2%, the 10-year Treasury yield at 4.36%, the 2-year yield at 3.84%. Tech stocks are under pressure with the Wall Street Journal reporting OpenAI failed to meet its own sales and user growth targets. Anurag Rana covers tech for Bloomberg Intelligence.
OpenAI is still doing very well. I mean, let's not get that wrong. But at the same time, sometimes you don't go up in the similar directions, and you're going to have, off months as well. But at the same time, you're seeing Anthropic doing really well.
Anurag Rana with Bloomberg Intelligence. OpenAI pushing back at that report, saying that it's firing on all cylinders, but it has some big AI names selling off. Nvidia shares are down 3%, Oracle shares have fallen 3.5%, and Advanced Micro Devices shares are now more than 4% lower. CoreWeave touted its diverse and expanding set of customers after that Wall Street Journal report, saying, quote, OpenAI is a terrific partner, but not our only one. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is warning that a credit market downturn could be worse than expected, even after his firm and Wall Street rivals posted a banner quarter in which loan portfolios held up. In private credit specifically, the fact that there are more than 1,000 firms in the space probably means not all of them will fare well when the cycle turns, according to Dimon, who spoke at a Norges Bank Investment Management Conference. U.S. consumer confidence edged up in April to the highest this year as Americans grew more hopeful about the outlook for the labor market. The conference board Chief Economist Dana Peterson.
Well, consumers are feeling a little bit better about employment, both currently and in the future, and also their incomes, their future incomes. And so that helped offset their concerns about the business environment, both now and in the future. But still, no, it's not terribly optimistic relative to what we saw 18 months ago.
Dana Peterson, chief economist with the Conference Board on Bloomberg Intelligence. FCC Chair Brendan Carr is reportedly planning to launch an early review of Disney's broadcast TV license, just a day after President Trump called for ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel to be fired. Bloomberg Intelligence analyst Geetha Raghunathan says this will be a challenge for the new CEO.
It's definitely controversial, and it's kind of a PR nightmare for the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, who really doesn't have much experience in kind of navigating all of this Hollywood talent stuff.
Hear more from Geetha Raghunathan on the Bloomberg Intelligence podcast. Disney shares now about 0.5% lower. President and First Lady Melania Trump greeting King Charles and Queen Camilla on day 2 of their state visit. Bloomberg's Kaylee Lyons reports it comes at a delicate time in the special relationship.
This administration, including President Trump and the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, have been highly critical of the UK's Navy. It'll be interesting to see if he alludes to that at all in the speech and how he is able to suggest that this is a relationship that could move forward despite the real break we have seen between President Trump and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer over what Trump views as the UK's unwillingness to be more helpful in the U.S.'s war with Iran.
Bloomberg's Kaylee Lyons in the nation's capital. Citadel's Ken Griffin is meeting with New York Governor Kathy Hochul to discuss the future direction of New York City after a spat with Mayor Zohran Mamdani over his Manhattan penthouse.
The willingness of the mayor of New York to make this a policy debate, a personal attack, just demonstrated a profound lack of judgment. I'm meeting with the governor Thursday.
Okay, you'll figure it out.
And we'll talk about our future direction in New York.
Griffin was on a panel moderated by Carlyle co-founder David Rubenstein at the Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund Investment Conference. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.